We've talked on this program quite a bit about the corporate education reform movement. This week, my 8-year-old daughter will be taking a series of math tests based on the Common Core curriculum. 2 or 3 weeks ago, I think it was, she took the English tests. Much of her school year is oriented towards taking these tests. We're lucky the school that she goes to doesn't overemphasize these tests. But nevertheless, I can tell you that I spoke to my daughter's teacher after the English test. She was almost in tears thinking about some of the questions that these kids had to answer. It creates a tremendous amount of pressure on them. Louis C.K. was just tweeting the other day about these the math homework to prep them for the tests. The questions are ridiculous, and my daughter tests pretty well. I know she's going to do fine on these tests, but the issue is what it does to the entire process of learning. And then, of course, there are other issues in terms of evaluating teachers based on this. So it creates a tremendous amount of pressure that is unnecessary. But like we were talking about with Matt Taibbi, what this sort of new metrics as a way of determining whether or not people are doing their job, how it affects law enforcement, it also affects detrimentally education. And we see this begin to bleed and seep into all aspects of education. This is just an anecdote, but it is incredibly telling. Valerie Strauss in the Washington Post reports on a school in Elwood, New York, the Harley Avenue Primary School. And apparently at the end of the year, the tradition has been that the kindergarteners put on a show for their parents, presumably. I'm not sure what the show consists of, but I've been to kindergarten shows. They're mildly entertaining if you have a kid in them. If you don't, they're not so entertaining. But, you know, the kids may put on a play, or they may do like one section where they sing together. The value of this, I think, is obvious to educators and to parents alike, it seems to me. The kids learn to public speak. They learn to work with other kids as they develop this. They all work towards one goal. They learn to express themselves. They learn there are different ways of expressing yourselves. They learn imagination, etc., etc. However, the principal who runs the Harley Avenue Primary School sent home a letter to kindergarten parents and guardians explaining why they have canceled this show. Now, this, she goes, "We hope this letter serves you to better understand how the demands of the 21st century are changing schools, and more specifically, to clarify misperceptions about the kindergarten show. This issue is not unique to Elwood. Although the movement toward more rigorous learning standards has been in the national news for more than a decade, the changing face of education is beginning to feel unsettling for some people. What and how we teach is changing to meet the demands of a changing world." We know what this changing world is. It is that we're going to measure the quality of education by a system of metrics that will be imposed by private industry that makes a lot of money off of testing. That is policy changes that are influenced by corporate America, that is flooding money into schools because they seek to privatize them. They seek to impose a corporate standard on them. And in many instances, they seek to make a lot of money off them. The reason for eliminating the kindergarten show is simple. We are responsible for preparing children for college and career with valuable lifelong skills, and know that we can do this best by having them become strong readers, writers, co-workers, and problem solvers. Do not fault us for making professional decisions that we know will never be able to please everyone. This is so the school can get funding. They see the handwriting on the walls, and they need to prep these kids for tests from the moment they get into these schools. Because this is how the school will be judged. This is how the educators will be judged. Is based upon whether or not those test scores are met. It's destroying our education system. It's destroying our education system. It's just ridiculous. Just one school, one anecdote, but it illustrates what's happening in this country in the name of education reform.